Hello, everyone. Coping Skills here. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in Florida and gamer. I started this endeavor to kind of create a space for gamers to come while I'm live streaming and ask me questions, get my perspective, give advice from a licensed mental health counselor with over a decade of experience. But as I was doing that, clients suggested I go on this reaction journey that I started, starting with high Ren, and just kind of been doing a lot of Ren videos since then. It's been a lot of fun. So today, in for a treat, I think. Been suggested plenty of times, but I'm going to start doing the Money Game trilogy. I don't know if I'll do them back to back to back. We'll see. But I'm going to do the first one. Don't really know what to expect. I'm not sure how mental health relevant it is, but supposedly it has a lot to do with society. So society is mental health relevant any way you cut it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we got here. So without further ado, let's get on to the video.
It's a strange time we're living in. War can put fear in. Hierarchy parties, they make us feel inferior. Greed runs through parliament interiors. Devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie theory, strife, fearing, weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships. Nearly blinded by illusions to choose who's fooling who. A ball chained to your shoes on pain. It's
I'm gonna have to go back to the beginning, start it again. I gotta go a little bit lost with the rope, and then he's winding it up, and then somebody with a bag over his head, um, talking about pain being irrelevant. Um, yeah, I missed a lot of the lyrics. So yeah, gonna just take it back and start over here.
It's a strange time we're living in. War can put fear in. Hierarchy parties, they make us feel inferior. Greed runs through parliament interiors. Devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie theory, strife, fearing, weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships. Nearly blinded by illusions to choose who's fooling who. A ball chained to your shoes on pain.
I got to turn up just a little bit for myself. Um, yeah, that's interesting talking about basically government leaders um, living in a dictatorship, even though it kind of is presenting that we're presented as not a dictatorship, I think is kind of what he's saying. Um, like who's fooling who, like we all see it. You say it's one thing, but it's another. Kind of a lie after lie, basically, is kind of what I'm getting there. But I'll take it back just a second and then we'll go forward. But yeah, definitely talking about leadership there. We will continue.
In dictatorships, nearly blinded by illusions to choose who's fooling who. A ball chained to your shoes on pain. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game that lets this whole world burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a killer. His finger on the trigger of a money game.
Oh, that's good. I'll go back. It seemed like a spot to stop there, but yeah, basically greed lights a flame that drives people to do things that are way outside their character. Um, Turns a saint into a sitter, a child into a killer. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, greed definitely um, is the root of all kinds of evil, right? It says that's a biblical scripture that he also mentioned when I did Money Ties. He mentioned the same scripture, I think, in that kind of introductory word with the girl kind of talking, narrating. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, we'll take it back just a little bit.
Saint into a sinner, a child into a killer. His finger on the trigger of a money game. Oh, rain, 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 rain. A storm it comes our way. And those who
Gotcha.
rise to distorted lies, poison in the veins. But we like to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. Stop.
I got some rubber gloves going on. Yeah, really, really good storytelling there. I gotta say, um, an excellent use of silence. Um, as a mental health counselor, there's a lot of times where I'll be in session with a client, and silence can make people really uncomfortable. But that uncomfortable can promote talking when it wouldn't otherwise. There's been times where, let's say I've got an adolescent client, and if I just keep asking question over question, I'll get the least amount of information possible given to me, right? Really just short worded responses. They don't want to talk about it. They're kind of forced to be there. It doesn't do a very good job of building rapport or anything like that, but sometimes using silence in a counseling session is a really effective tool um, to get somebody talking more and uh, a little bit deeper than they would without the use of silence. And breaking that silence can be a deterrent to somebody actually talking. So, in my master's program, and it's true in practice, um, learning how to be comfortable with uncomfortable silences is a really good tool to be an effective counselor. Um, it's also a really good tool for everybody if you're listening to be an effective listener, right? When you want to fill all the empty space with your words, you're not giving that space for the other person to be uncomfortable enough to work up the courage to break the silence themselves. So it's a balance, you obviously don't want to abuse that or be oddly silent and make it awkward or anything like that, but um, good use of silence is really important in counseling, but it's also really important in storytelling. And you'll notice there, he just kind of he hits him and he stops, and then he just kind of sits it. He's okay in that uncomfortable silence for a minute, and it's a really good tool to build tension in storytelling or in movies or any type of storytelling, really. So yeah, I really like the use of silence there. Sorry, I kind of went off there, but yeah, very interesting. I like that a lot. And I mean, very poignant words as well. I'm going to go back just a little bit so that we can maybe stop one more time in the middle here after he says something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame.
Oh, yeah. So he says, blame, blame, blame. Everybody wants to play the blame game, right? But then he says after this, point the mirror at yourself, right? Because we're all part of this thing, right? So yeah, that really stuck out to me. Point a mirror at yourself. So it's really easy to start pointing fingers at everybody else's issue, everybody else's problem. But until we all turn the mirror on ourselves, really, to see our part in what we do, um, it's not going to change, right? We have to see it in ourselves and not just blame everybody else. It's actually important in counseling too. Not to go on too much of a tangent, but a lot of times people will come into counseling and they're there because there's a lot of frustrating things going on in their life, and they want this person to change, this person to treat them better. They might have somebody that's mean or rude or even abusive to them. And sometimes it's hard to help guide them back to um, knowing what they can control and what they can't control. So a lot of times people will come to counseling hoping to figure out how to help somebody else change when they're not going to be able to do that. And it's the things within their purview, their control, uh, that they'll be able to change themselves. It may help somebody else uh, to right their own ship, but really learning what you have control over and what you can do. Um, Sometimes it's a little bit of a hard shift of perspective. So anyway, there's my 2 cents on that.
But point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. Stop.
Silence, he's okay in it.
This old money game. Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate. When they make us believe that everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. They say badly through gritted teeth. That's my right to hate. That's freedom of speech. But when did freedom become a reason to hate? A way to justify a racist slur or insult we make? There's an irony in freedom, cause us in the West, we have pillaged and plundered the murder like savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy.
I'm gonna have to go back there. I missed that line, and I was a little bit taken back by the other one. It's very, really strong wording there. Um, yeah, um, the, he grabbed the bat. I love the tension again. He's building with you know railing that bat across the steel bars there. Um, Kind of wakes you up, makes you pay attention. It kind of puts it on his back like he's going to use it, but then um, he makes some interesting movements. I think that's just kind of artistic license, but something about basically fear mongering, using fear like of uh, everybody being terrorized in the streets and all kind of that tool to control the masses, right? That's what I got out of that. So I'm going to go back right here. I think is when he started saying that. We'll go.
Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate. When they make us believe that everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. They say badly through gritted teeth. That's my right to hate. That's freedom of speech.
Yeah, so he said everybody is a resident of fear. Um, and when we believe that everybody's going to be terrorized on the street, and it's just a tool to keep us separate, right? To keep us from talking, to keep us in control, basically. Um, but then this is the line that got me the last time was um, when did the freedom of speech become a reason to hate? And then I think right here he says something about to justify a racist slur, something like that.
Right to hate. That's freedom of speech. But when did freedom become a reason to hate? A way to justify a racist slur or insult we make? There's an irony in freedom, cause us in the West, we have pillaged and plundered the murdered like savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain value that you never keep yourselves. Your country was in flames, you denigrate yourselves in a second. Still you spit your venom, demonizing immigrants when really you're the immigrant. Cause all of us are immigrants or descended from immigrants. Irony is imminent. I'll shed the light on immigrants. America was colonized by Britain. Britain, it was colonized by Rome. And also colonized by the Saxons. They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon the Germans because of history's pain, and yet we made the same mistakes all again. Demonize a whole people, Jewish or Muslim, the same and the same. Old situations play on repeat. The same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we worship the bleak. Our opinions aren't our own and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's no right. In the middle we sleep. Rain, 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 rain. A storm it comes our way. And those who rise who
Before he gets too much into that, man, there was a lot packed in there with about the immigration. And he said that really dense string of words, something along the lines of like, here in the West, it's hypocrisy because we've plundered and pillaged. I think he said like 3 more adjectives in there. So we Western culture has done the same thing, right? And then he said something about you'd give up your country in a second if I don't know the words, but the feeling I got was like if you were under threat. And then he went into a little description of history, right? The U.S. was colonized by Britain. Britain was colonized by Rome. Rome colonized by the Saxons. And then Saxons are German. And he said something about how we treat the Germans. Yeah, interesting. Right. I think the Huns were before that. I don't know. My history's a little shaky, but yeah, I mean, definitely accurate. Yeah, let me go back just a little bit. Man, really good.
Situations play on repeat. The same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we.
Oh yeah, and this the worship the bleep, and then he said something about there's everybody's in the middle, like there's no left. There, I'll have to hear it again.
It was colonized by Rome, and also colonized by the Saxons. They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon the Germans because of history's pain, and yet we made the same mistakes all again. Demonize a whole people, Jewish or Muslim, the same and the same. Old situations play on repeat. The same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we worship the bleak. Our opinions aren't our own and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's no right. In the middle we sleep. Rain, 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 rain. A storm it comes our way. And those who rise to distorted lies, poison in the.
I think what he's trying to say there is, we follow whatever pop culture kind of says. Talking about watching TV, we follow the bleep. I don't know, tell me if this is a jump, but it seems like that's almost like a commentary on being too politically correct, right? Like everybody wants to walk the middle line and not offend anybody. So we just end up following the middle and not having opinions and not talking about opinions and trying to walk this line of not offending other people, and we just end up being sheep. Yeah, that's kind of what I got. It might be a leap, but all right.
And those who rise to distorted lies, poison in the veins. But we'd like to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame. But point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this whole money game. This old money game.
So for a second there, I thought he was stabbing him, but it looks like he was putting a face on the faceless. I don't know. That's my jump reaction to that. But yeah, we'll continue. Interesting. Yeah.
This old money game.
He's such good use of silence. Is it lavalier mic? I didn't even notice. Interesting. So obviously another mic here too. Hmm. Interesting. I'm not sure exactly how to translate the last part. Two ideas kind of come to mind. The first is so in a situation where the person who has the hood on and was given a face, the first instinct was to to get rid of the face, to get rid of the people, to get rid of maybe the resistance, those who speak up, right? But then there's a like he like takes a step back and thinks, and then he makes that tense walk to be by himself and douses himself with gasoline and is going to light it on fire, right? um, I know years ago there was some protests that were done, uh, I think in some Middle Eastern country or India, Asian country, maybe an Asian country, where some monks lit themselves on fire as a protest to war and mistreatment of people. So if that's kind of what he's illustrating there, um, but if he is instead of being like the monk doing a silent protest, but instead of burning the face or like the vocal people who don't like fall in line to be in the faceless, maybe there's a realization that the only way to right the system is to get rid of the leadership that's in control. And the only way that's going to happen because they're in power is if they remove themselves. I don't know where my mind went there, but yeah, I don't know if that's what he was trying to get at. I might be reading way too much into it. Um, and it may just be more a mention or kind of a call out to like those monks and just um, trying to this is his passive protest against greed. That's probably more likely. But both poignant, thought-provoking, obviously. Um, yeah, really interesting. And I'm told that there's two more of these. So I'm definitely curious. Well, I'm glad I was able to put a little bit of mental health perspective into this, even though it's not about mental health, it's about societal health and the dangers of greed, which greed plays into mental health a lot. It can, especially in those with narcissistic personality disorder. But yeah, man, great. Um, Very thought provoking. Well, if you have any suggestions you want me to follow up with, if you have any comments, any insight that you have, maybe from an interview Ren's done or something, yeah, fill me in. I'm curious as to maybe like his motivators behind this, if I missed anything, or if I was way off. I do not mind correction or feedback that is a little critical. I'm all for it. I think feedback has inherent value, even if it's criticism. So, yeah, let me know. But definitely enjoyed that one. Very thought provoking. It wasn't like a deep emotional song, and it wasn't like a fun song like I've done kind of both of those things. This was like just a thought provoking song. Uh, it was strange because it was cadence and then the melody. Um, yeah, I just really like that melody. The that that money game melody. It's catchy. Anyway, I'll stop blabbering on. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for being with me. And we're kind of on the road to maybe getting to 1,000 subscribers. That would be pretty cool. So if you haven't subscribed and you've listened to me this long, maybe hit that subscribe button. But either way, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day.